kids, comics. Silver-haired Bronze Age babe here, yakking about her comic book collection, and today I'm introducing a new series called Dangerous Drivel. I have been doing a lot of research lately of romance comics in the 60s and 70s. I have a series called Women's Libbers from Earth that talks about how the romance comics in specific talked about the women's movement of the early 70s. But as part of that research, I have found some additional stories that don't necessarily fall into that category, but they do kind of strike my fancy in a weird way. This one is called, this is from Young Love, number 124, which is from March of 1977. And we are treated to a story called Love Behind Bars. And it's written by Bob Kanigher. People who know Bob Kanigher's work, you won't be surprised when you see what happens in this story. This is the second part, I guess, of a two-part story arc where our heroine is deciding what to do because her beloved is in prison. He landed in jail because he stole a very fast car and some money in it as he was attempting to woo her and impress her. Sadly, that didn't work, and he ended up in the pokey. All the while, her friends are telling her, you really ought to dump this guy. He's kind of a loser. And she's like, no, really. But others are like, no, really, he's a mess. You should not do it when he gets out. So she's like, I love him anyway. But she goes to the prison to pick him up. And as she sees him walking out of the prison yard in the distance, she has a moment of clarity, and feats don't fail her now. She makes a run for it, and she gets on the bus and is whisked away to a future without Vic, the ex-con. Now she makes it all the way to New York City. And the first person she meets in New York City is this guy. Racial sensitivity much? Nope. You sure look like a little lost lamb, baby. Can Big Daddy help you? Who, me? No, thanks. I'm waiting for someone. Luckily, these two oldsters intervene and explain, oh no, we're going to take you home with us. We are with the Travelers Protection Agency, and we work with young women just like you. We're going to take you to our halfway house. It's this actually lovely hotel, and we're going to feed you and let you rest and get your act together before we call your parents. It's all going to work out well, and she is thrilled. They show her to her room, and she's so exhausted she just collapses on the bed, dreams about the ex-con boyfriend Vic, but is awakened by someone who has entered her room. Who are you? And he's like, Santa Claus, baby, and I've got a present for you. And that is when we find out that she is basically being sex trafficked. Yes, that's no agency. That's a brothel. And we are treated to these panels. Luckily, the police have arrived and break everything up and take all the gals and the now grumpy old woman, their madam, to jail. And boy, things look dire. She realizes she's at some point she is bailed out, and who would bail her out but, oh my god, it's the ex-boyfriend Vic, who came to find her. And it's all better now, although I don't know, the way this looks like, oh Vic, how can I explain? If you love me, there's nothing to explain. I don't know, maybe you should explain why your head is just falling backwards like a Pez dispenser, but whatever. So anyway, Vic and Steffi, Vic and I left. We turned our backs on our past in the city, and we didn't look back at the street girls or their lost dreams. So, that's romance comic material for 1977. Holy cow. Really? I don't know. What is that telling young women? Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. The other thing I want to point out is this book has a page that is introducing their then new publisher, Jenette Kahn. And she was extraordinarily successful and very transformational for DC Comics. But the first time you see her, she had just been named publisher, and so she wrote up this letter, introducing herself. And I think you can tell the amount of sexism that she was facing and that was inherent in the industry and at DC in particular because of the choices she made relative to how she talks about herself. She basically spends a lot of time saying, "You've never heard of me, you don't know me, you're all wondering what is going on, who am I?" And the inevitable questions arise. Who is she anyway? Does she have the necessary qualifications to be publisher of the largest comic company in the world? Can she type? Yes, I can. 10 words a minute using 2 fingers. I mean, okay, but yes, you could kind of make the case, well, that's kind of, charming, and she's using, sugar rather than vinegar. It's like, I don't know, did you have to use anything at all? And then down here, Neil Adams did a representational portrait of her, but the sexism of the times rears its head again because you see her notes to him saying, well, my hair is now curly, maybe you should change that. And my nose looks like a before picture of a plastic surgeon's wall. And can you smooth out the smile lines? Why do they look like wrinkles? And why are my teeth so big? So, it's an interesting look at what women in the business of comic books and in publishing overall had to deal with back in 1977. And from a content standpoint, you had to deal with stories and art like that from 1977. So there you go. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.